Hi everybody, it's a pleasure to be here to talk about virtual and live events related to lichens. By the way, would you be in Brazil if the Congress was in presence? Just think about it. This presentation is based on a paper that I wrote some months ago with Manuela Giovannetti for a special issue of the journal Symbiosis. The special issue was conceived to celebrate the World Symbiosis Day, during which the International Symbiosis Society organized a webinar. It was exactly during the webinar that I started thinking on the topic, because I realized and was quite amazed by the fact that the 2-hour events managed to gather more than 500 people from all over the world, even from countries that usually for financial, political or administrative constraints are scarcely represented in international congress. I had the same feeling of large inclusion attending the annual general meeting of the British Lichen Society. This feeling was later confirmed by the society itself, that says that talks were watched by over 300 participants from 57 countries. This number are quite amazing for an event that usually has a mainly national reach. Although hateful, at least for the circumstances that lead to their massive use, this new training, dissemination and network methods online cannot be ignored, as the number showed. I decided then to investigate more in detail the potentialities in diffusion of lichenology knowledge. To that, I needed a case study to evaluate the factor of the change from in-present to online events, possibly appropriate tools to evaluate their effectiveness, and finally some feedback from the users. The perfect case study for me was the Società Lichenologica Italiana, also called SLI. The Italian Lichen Society is a non-profit association created in 1997. The society communicates with its members and with the rest of the world through several channels: a website, a mailing list, a Facebook page, and a Twitter and Instagram account. Finally, the society publishes every year the Notiziario della Società Lichenologica Italiana, a journal that contains scientific and informative articles and the proceedings of the annual meetings. Before the pandemic, regular activities organized by the society were the annual meeting, training courses and field trips, and seminars of various types. The society is also often involved in many activities with school and citizen science. Of course, due to the pandemic, many activities had to switch to an online format. To evaluate the effect of this switch from in-presence events to online events, then I compared 2 years of activities. 2019, where all the activities were in presence, and 2020, where the activities were mainly online. In 2020, the Society didn't organize the annual Congress, not even online, and all the activities considered in this study are activities in which SLI members participated, even if not organized directly by the Society. Data were collected using reports of the activities available on the minute of the annual meetings, asking directly to the organizer and the participant, and from the Facebook page and the social media of the entities promoting the events when were different from the society. The information collected regarded the type of events, and if it was online or in presence, of course, the number of participants, meaning the number of people in presence, and in case of online recorded events, the number of visualization when available, and an estimation of the effort necessary for the event, meaning the number of lichen experts included and the duration of the activity. In 2019, 7 events in presence were organized, with a total number of participants of 285. In 2020, 1 in presence but recorded, and 9 online events were organized, with a total number of participants of 2,600. I know, however, that the SLIM members not every year participate or organize in the same type of events. So looking at past year, I found that the Festival della Scienza di Genova in 2018 An in-presence event reached the number of participants of 1,000. This is a comparable number of participants that the workshop BioDea had in 2020. However, the workshop BioDea was in presence with 80 participants, and the 1,000 visualization was of the record of the event. We are talking about two events with a comparable degree of success, around 1,000 participants. However, if we look at the effort required to organize the two events, we see that the Festival della Scienza di Genova, to be seen by 1,000 people, required 3 persons per day, 8 hours per day for 10 days, for a total of 240 person hours. Conversely, the workshop BioDea only required 1 person for 1 hour. These numbers show that online events can be more efficient than in-present events. Moreover, recorded events are virtually accessible from anywhere at any time, meaning that the number of visualization can increase with no limits. Another important observation is that these two events, that are the ones with the highest degree of success, were not single topic only devoted to lichens, but multi-topic events where lichens were only a part of the offer. So we need to take this in consideration when we plan future dissemination activity. Another important activity of the Italian Lichen Society is the organization of the introductory course to lichenology. Unfortunately, a scarce subscription of participants prevented the organization of the course several times in the last years. In 2020, the course was held online, together with other seminars and workshops in the series Licheni a portata di click, lichen just a click away, and so the participation of around 170 people. That promoted the highest increase in the number of members of the society of the last 10 years. These results showed quite clearly the relevance that online activities had for the Italian Lichen Society. However, looking for a more reliable method of evaluation, I turned to culturomics. Culturomics is an emerging research field that aims at understanding human culture through the analysis of changes in word frequency in digital text. In other words, culturomics analyzes the number of times that a certain word is used on the internet. Culturomics is largely used in conservation and relies on a set of tools including Google Trends. Google Trends is a Google platform that analyzes the popularity of search queries in Google. In other words, whenever you search for a certain word on Google, this search is made available to Google Trends for statistical purposes. Here, there is an example of the use of Google Trends by Lidl Italia, and I'm sure that most of you know what I talk about. This is the Tatu Bola, the three-banded armadillo that was the mascot of the World Cup in Brazil in 2014. As you can see, when the mascot was announced and during the World Cup, the search queries in Google about the armadillos peaked. Why is this important in conservation? Because people protect what they know, so we need to make lichens famous. If Google Trends works for armadillos, why not for lichens? I decided then to set the search in Google Trends with the word licheni, lichens in Italian, the country Italy and the year 2020. It's important to note that this only worked because the meaning of licheni is univocal. If you are a botanist searching, for example, for the word apple, the result will probably return search for iPhone more than for fruits. Anyway, the results showed a peak in the search for licheni in November 2020. Was then possible to correlate the peak with lichen events? Actually, it was. Looking at activities of the Italian Lichen Society, I found that around the week where the peak occurred, 3 online lichen events were realized that could justify the increase in interest. A seminar for an academic association and 2 videos produced for the European Researchers Night. Encouraged by these results, I made the same for other European countries. The only other correlation found was in Germany, where a peak in April 2020 corresponded to a lichen excursion in Berlin city parks. That is enough to understand that even with some limitation, the Google Trend and Culturomics can really be an important tool for the evaluation of the success of dissemination events, both in presence and online. An almost unavoidable tool for dissemination purposes are social media, as the organizers of this Congress can confirm. As manager of the official Facebook page of the Italian Lichen Society, I can follow easily the performance of the different posts. I started then wondering if it was possible to identify some pattern in the success of the different posts. I analyzed then 3 parameters. The number of reactions, for example, when you put a like, the number of people reached, that means how many people saw the post, and the number of engagement. An engagement is any action taken on the post. Reaction, comments, share, click if it's a link, view if it's a video. All the posts published from 1 of November 2020 until 14 of February 2021 were examined for a total of 60 posts. They were grouped in several categories. One category was the members' activity related to updates on ongoing projects, participation at congresses and courses or individual notes. SLI unrelated included news about other scientific societies, museums, congresses and awards not promoted by SLI. Other included inquiries about lichens, general curiosity, photos, or reference to lichens in other contexts. Publication included papers, books, and other publications only from SLI members. Resources included freely available resources such as identification keys, floras, training material. Awards and scholarship included announcement of scholarships and position. And finally, online events included announcement, programs, or reports of online events organized by SLI and SLI members. I'm aware perfectly that this is a rough estimation with some biases, but it was interesting to have a general idea of how people on the internet react to the different topics presented. The values of the 3 parameters showed that posts regarding online events were in average the most liked and reached the highest number of people. Here you have the same data in a table and in graphs. So this is another point in favor of online events. The last task that I proposed was to obtain feedback from participants. To that, we elaborated a very simple questionnaire with 10 multiple choice questions. The question regarded 3 main aspects: basic info about the user, like age, the reason of interest in lichens, and how and when they discovered lichens for the first time. Information about how they collect information about lichens, a tool to increase knowledge, attendance of events, and if they change habits during the pandemic. And finally, how the knowledge about lichens influenced their concept of human-lichen relation and the interest in environmental issues. We disseminated the questionnaire through the communication channel of the Italian Lichen Society and collected 181 responses. Due to that, many of the respondents were likely members of the society with already years of experience in lichenology. However, it was interesting to see that 10% of the users look for information about lichens on social media and 22% use outreach material online. That among the users that participated at events, the majority participates at online events, and that surprise for me, that the amount of lichen searches online after 2020 didn't just increase, but decreased in some people, in particular over 50 years of age. Finally, 93% of the user thinks that knowing and appreciating lichens increase the interest in environmental issues, because lichens can be used as biomonitors for their role in biodiversity conservation and for their direct effect on the ecosystem. But 7% don't think so, so we need to convince these people. In conclusion, online events are here to stay. They cannot in any way replace practical and in-presence training, but they are a powerful tool for networking and science communication. They are low-cost, time-saving, environmentally friendly, inclusive, and virtually with no limits of time and space. Culturomics, even with some limitation, can be an interesting tool to evaluate the impact of dissemination activity, online and in present, and so can do social media. Organize virtual events and make the most of them. However, we really need this. We need the contact, we need to be together, we need to talk, we need to look at each other. So I really hope that in 2026 we will meet again, and most of them I hope to see also before that. Thank you very much. I want to thank you for the attention, and I want to thank the British Lichen Society for the participation grant for attending the IAL9 Congress, the Fundação para Ciência e Tecnologia for financial support, Wolfgang von Bracken for helping searching for ecological events in Germany, and last but not least, the President Sonia Ravera and the organizer of the activities of the Società Lichenologica Italiana, not only because they provided data about the events that I mentioned in the work, but for their tireless work in the dissemination of lichenology. Thank you.